by my house. I am popping in for yet another quick check-in update type thing. I am just not in a season where I can put together actual content and videos in such a way that I prefer, but I thought that I would just let you know that I'm still here. And I have not done a Wellness Wednesday. I haven't done a weight check in. And I kind of wanted to chat about that for just a minute or two. Um, if you're new here, am a stay at home mom to three girls. My husband is a pilot. We homeschool. We live in Ohio, and we like to live a low carb, sugar free lifestyle for myself and my husband. We just try to keep things in check for our girls. Um, yeah, I started off doing Trim Healthy Mama in 2016. Quickly discovered that low carb or keto actually worked really, really well for me. So I did that for a really long time. Had a pregnancy in the mix and have come back to the keto way of eating. It is a sustainable lifestyle for me and my husband, and it just is something that clicks in our brains, and we don't really foresee changing or going back to a way of eating that would include things like sugar or processed carbs and things of that nature. So that's just sort of a little bit of a backstory. I have a ton of content here on my channel, tons of recipes, tons of what I eat in a day videos. I've got some grocery hauls, some meal plans. Although I have noticed in the past year plus, give or take, meal plans are just not jiving with me very well. So I don't tend to do those very often anymore. Actually, let's correct that. I haven't done one at all in the past Mm, maybe 18 months. So there's that. But if you are interested in lots of other things that I have done, I would love for you to go back and check through the archives of my channel. I actually just did that the other day, and I was in a place of deep lament over the fact that the house that we are currently in makes it a lot more tricky for me to put together thought out content and to show recipes and to um, talk about what I eat in a day videos and things like that. It's just not my season. And I feel like I'm a broken record saying that over and over and over again, but it is the current reality for me. And I'm learning how to rest in that instead of fight against it. Um, yeah. Also, I have been sort of reflecting on my entire wellness journey. Back in 2013, I first started digging deeper into healthful ways to support my body instead of trying to always correct things um, after the fact. I was looking more into preventative ways to develop health in my life. And I started off with the Weston A. Price Foundation. I started off with learning how to soak grains, how to ferment foods, how to sprout grains. I ground my own wheat for quite some time. And it was through that experience that I was led to Trim Healthy Mama in about 2014, 2015. I'm pretty sure it was 2014. And then I just continued on with my way of eating with the Weston A. Price Foundation, still eating things like sugar and all that jazz, and noticing an improvement in the inflammation in my body, but not significant enough improvement. My weight got out of hand, and I was working really diligently to try to correct some things in my understanding of food and health. And as 2016 came upon us, we had just moved from Alaska to Wisconsin, and I felt really just run down by life. We only had two children at that time, and that's whenever I dug deeper into Trim Healthy Mama. And a lot of their principles really resonated with me. It made sense to me to pair everything with protein, but separate your fat and your carbs. Like that just clicked right away. And they also threw in quite a few Weston A. Price type things as far as like, oh, okay, if you're going to have carbs, we're going to do sprouted grain breads, or we're going to sourdough our bread, or we're going to do kefir that we double ferment. So a lot of those buzzwords were super familiar to me, and I was very much so in that world anyway. And so it was just kind of a natural progression from Weston A. Price to Trim Healthy Mama and then on into keto. And I thought back about what life was like in 2016, and I had dropped 20 pounds. I think it was like 19 plus pounds, not quite 20 pounds, in only like 4 months. I think it was less than 4 months. And that felt amazing. And I was able to maintain within about a 6 pound weight range. And I thought that I was just sitting high on the hog. So I I carried on with that until we got pregnant with our third. It was a surprise pregnancy for us, and pregnancy and I are not compatible in the healthy kind of a way. I don't hold food down very well whenever I'm pregnant, and the only thing I could like consume and not puke was stuff like cinnamon toast crunch and bread and other highly processed carbs that really did not do my body any good. And no matter what I really did, I would puke anyway. So um, I did gain a lot of weight with that third pregnancy, and then I dropped all of that weight with that third pregnancy. And over the past 3.5 years, I have gone all the way down, and then I have come back up to kind of a body set point for myself. I've never actually been able to completely reduce my set point for my body weight. And so from 2016 until now, that's been 5 years and a few months, I have actually maintained my weight if you spread it out over 5 years. So I think that I don't know the statistics on how people gain weight as they age, but I do know that it is a trend to gain weight as you age and as your hormones go from, you know, childhood hormones to adulthood hormones to just aging adult hormones. And so I've actually considered the reality that if this is my body set point, I've done a really decent job of being more mindful of health on for my own self and reducing the inflammation in my body and just being super super in tune with insulin and how my body functions with food. And I've grown content with that particular concept, and I have continued to eat this way because I want to prevent insulin resistance. I want to prevent diabetes type 2. I want to prevent early onset Alzheimer's or dementia, which a lot of studies have shown can be correlated with insulin resistance. So I've been working very diligently to prevent those types of long term health crises in my own life. And I feel really good about that. All of that to say, I have maintained a weight between about 157 and 150 for the past 5 years. I am only 5'3" and a smidge over that. And I would, in my mind, like to be around 140 pounds. That is what I have in my brain. It might not be what my actual like queen weight would be if you listen to Serene and Pearl on the Trim Healthy Potty in Apple. I use Apple Podcast to listen to their podcast, and they talk about queen weight versus princess weight. So like what you're like whenever you're, super, young and able to lose all the weight, and then whenever you're older and your body settles into a different space. So I might be sitting at 150 as my queen weight, and I would be super content with that as well. But ideally, I would like to work down toward 140. I am a broad shouldered, narrow hip kind of a person. And I tend to be a little bit more on the muscular side. I carry all of my weight in my torso. And I have not been doing much in the way of being consistent with exercise that would build strength. And so I have made that change recently. I have been consistently working out every single day, some cardio and some just core resistance. And I only spend about 25 minutes a day doing it. I'm not trying to go from 0 to 60 in a nanosecond. So I'm trying to hang it around 30 minutes or less for specific exercise time. I've noticed a bit of a difference in my mood and in my energy. And I've also noticed that specifically one of our girls, she is like, oh, Mom, can I do one too? Yes, baby. You can also do a workout video if you would like. Yes, please go for it. So it's having a ripple effect on our family, and I think that is great. We talk about food, we talk about nutrition often in our home, but we've been a little bit lackluster on the strength and cardio piece of it. And while I firmly am rooted in the camp that bodies are built in 80% in the kitchen, 20% in exercise, I think that being more well-rounded with it all would behoove us, especially for our girls. Um, so I'm never really going to be able to mentally go back to eating a standard American diet. I would never mentally be able to make the leap from um, a sugar-free lifestyle to saying, well, like honey is totally fine, agave is fine. That's actually a really, really high glycemic index on the agave. I can't really get to, oh, I can have maple syrup. Like none of those things make me feel good. The turbino sugar, is that what it is? Turbino, is that the one that's like coconut sugar, but it's not, it's like cane sugar, but it has like the molasses part still with it. Is that right? Because it's like different than brown sugar. Anyway, I can't do the coconut sugar. I can't do any of those things. The organic cane sugars, none of them. They all create inflammation in my body. So I don't know that I will ever come to a place where I say, I want to feel stress in my jaw more, or I want my joints to ache more. So the low carb and the complete sugar-free way of life is for sure a long game for me. I have, however, been thinking and toying with the idea of going back to straight up trim healthy mama and being intentional with cooking from my cookbooks and not just the S meals, not just the fuel pulls, but actually going back and really committing to adding the E or high carb, low fat meals back into rotation. Um, just because I have had a third baby and my hormones have not settled back in the exact same way they did after my second baby. And I think that the aging process, I'm mid to late 30s at this point, and my hormones are never going to flourish the way they did in my 20s, and I'm not going to be able to function the way that I did whenever those hormones were the way they were. And I know that all of my female hormones will slowly start to decline as I continue to age. So I want to be mindful of that and go with my season as it progresses. So that's kind of where I am right now. And I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Ariel Stavish. She has a YouTube channel and she has been posting a couple of videos here lately that I am loving. I first learned about Ariel on Instagram, and then back in December, I got off Instagram. I just needed a complete break from all social media. One could argue YouTube is social media. I argue that it's social search. So for me, YouTube is an area where I can come, I can share things, I can search for things, and I can feel a little bit more in control of where I'm going with that. Whereas I felt often that with social media platforms. I was only on Instagram. I tried out the MeWe thing, I tried out the Parlor thing, I tried out all of these things. But I decided that for myself and for my emotional health, getting off all social media platforms where I am being bombarded with people's lives that are close to me or that I've become too familiar with, just needed to take a step back. So I decided to do that. I have never felt better emotionally. I did the same thing with Facebook back in 2015. I had been on Facebook since 2004, whenever they first, like had you come in and really have to petition the Facebook for your college to be added. So I divorced Facebook in 2015. I felt great after that. So I felt the divorce from Instagram was absolutely necessary, and it has proven to be extremely beneficial to my emotional well-being. So let me see here. I've got a comment. Bev, have you considered being a THM coach? Well, first of all, hello, Bev. I have sincerely thought about it. Like, genuinely, I have thought about it and considered it. But at this stage of life, I don't know that I would be able to commit to helping specific individuals on their time schedule with, with the girls and with homeschooling. That is a lot to manage. Oh, thanks, Bev. I really appreciate that. It is something that excites me. The idea would be, like, the idea is an awesome idea, and I would really consider it. But at the same time, I would not be in a position right now in our life to make a go of that kind of a business. Because I think the intention is that you do turn it into more of a business to really reach people who need help. At this point, it's enough for me, to be able to manage the girls and their homeschooling and our home here. And we're trying to do a few other things for future setup for ourselves. We and with my husband working, it's just there's a lot of moving parts in our life, just like there's a lot of moving parts in everyone's life. And at this stage of the game, I would have to give something up in those areas, and that's not really where I feel called. I feel really, really called to continue homeschooling the girls and just committing to my family and discipling well those that are in my own home right now, and then spreading out like through our church and that sort of thing. Um, but the idea of coaching is definitely not off the table in the future in my mind. Now, whether or not that'll still be a thing once my youngest is, say in second, third grade-ish type age range where she can be more independent on some schoolwork, I don't know. Um, but it is definitely something I have considered. So I appreciate that question. I um, I have been struggling a lot with our 3-year-old. She is tenacious in a way that I never understood. The word tenacity, like, I never, fully comprehended what that word meant until living with our 3-year-old. She is incredible. She's insanely smart, which is terrifying. She, she's very pushy. And this season of life for us, it's been super difficult to be able to even just accomplish our schoolwork the way we need to accomplish our schoolwork. So trying to tack anything else on, whew, I think I would literally have my brain turn to mush. It would be a thing. So anyway, that was really a lot to share. We covered a lot of topics here. Um, Sort of a background of where I've been with my health and wellness experience, why life has been a little bit tricky to be able to put out content. My heart really is here at YouTube. I really have loved YouTube since like 2009. I have loved YouTube. I mean, I don't know. It's always been a thing for me. Um, and I never really got started on it that early on. I thought at first I wanted to do like family vlogging type things and be able to share our family with other family that is across the country from us and that sort of thing. But finding my niche here in more of the health wellness kind of piece of it really, really hits home. And I don't want to let that go. But I also can recognize that this season is not the most conducive to that. So I'm still here. I'm still hanging on, and I wanna check in every so often to be able to, like, I don't know. To say I don't wanna be forgotten is ridiculous because the ultimate reason why I do this is for me, but then also for whomever really wants to know, and so if whomever wants to know really wants to know, they'll figure it out, right? I don't know. I really struggle with the idea of trying to tell people what to do because I struggle with people telling me what to do. So I put it out here for me, and whomever else wishes to enjoy it, be blessed. So um, I've gone off on way too many tangents. I am going to go ahead and call it good right here, and I appreciate you so much for coming along with me on this quick check-in, even though now we're pushing 20 minutes. Um, like I said in the beginning, I have tons of content here on my channel. If there is anything that you are searching, I would love for you to click on my channel, and there's a little magnifying glass at the very end of it, of the little header situation. If you are on desktop, you can click on that and you can search things out there. I do have some stuff in playlists. I have all of these videos for the past 3 years on my channel, and yeah, that's about it. Subscribe if you feel led to. Like this if you want to. Dislike it if you want to too, because that helps me to know where you are. And I hope to see y'all in my next video.